Okay, last week, I hope you enjoyed that. It was a bit like that's some real work, some real hardcore work to do. But it's good. It makes us better. It takes the monsters that are in our closet and brings them into the light. It takes their power away. So, hope you did it. If you didn't, you should. Just do it, even if you're scared. Be brave. Move forward. This week, it's a little bit of a detour. I've been talking about fiction writing. And now we're going to kind of shift into, just for this week, talking about copywriting, which is like a marketing term for just talking to people. And I want to be clear, like, copywriting isn't about selling. That is so gross. I don't like salesy things. Anytime someone is trying to sell me something, I'm immediately like, no, get away from me. So that's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about just doing your audience, your fans, the people that want your thing, just doing them a service by being clear and telling a good story. To be clear in your message, you have to first be clear in yourself. So these are figuring out your core values. Those are kind of the guide rails, whatever those things are on a highway that keep you from destroying everything. Those guardrails, it's like the guardrails of a storytelling highway. So you're just going down the road. Maybe you'll bump into them, but you kind of like get course corrected pretty quickly. Maybe that's a bad analogy, but it's an analogy that I use nonetheless. So we have these. Once we decide and we figure out our core values, then we can move forward into defining this audience and who we're talking to, and that will give us someone to picture in our brain that we can write to. It could be your best friend. It could be an ideal client. There's all these different audiences that you can write for, and everybody writes for different reasons. You have to define your core values. Who is this piece being written for, and what is the success? What would be the success of this piece? Is it just to connect? Is it to educate? Is it to give them some action items? There's success for different pieces. So just define, before you even start writing, what success is for that piece. Copywriting is not the time to get long and super eloquent with your language. You want to write short, concise, very clear, to the point, but also engage. You have to trim. So I would suggest just writing. Just write. If you're going to do some copywriting for maybe your website or whatever it might be, a newsletter, you write a bunch, then you trim it down. And then you trim it down, and you trim it down, until you just have the essence of what you're trying to say. We're looking for essential oils here. We're not looking for the whole flower. In novel writing, you remember the story arc, this hero's journey. In copywriting, it's different. So you are not the hero in this story. You are the mentor in the copywriting story. So if you think about that journey that they're on, you're meeting them in this new world. You're their guide through this world that they're kind of figuring it out. So a great way to do this is to observe things. Every great photographer, writer, painter, musician, whatever, what they were doing was observing something that we all knew, but then looking at it from a different way, right? And the only way they did this is by looking at that thing a lot and observing a lot. So what we can do in our copywriting is observe and actually listen. Have some empathy for the people that we're trying to help. It's super simple. It's just empathy, but it takes some thought. It takes some real doing, some major observations. And I know you're up for the task. I'm going to read a quote from Ansel Adams. I don't have it memorized, so forgive me as I hold up my phone and read it. There are no forms in nature. Nature is a vast, chaotic collection of shapes. You, as an artist, create configurations out of chaos. You make a formal statement where there was none to begin with. All art is a combination of an external event and an internal event. I make photographs to give you the equivalent of what I felt. Equivalent is still the best word. So, this week, our homework is do your core values. It links on my link is in my bio. It's on my website. You have things that you can download, tangible things that you can print out and use your hands to do things with. On that workbook, you have all of the core values, not all the core values. Just, it's like, I don't know, maybe like 100 core values or something like that. It's just to get your mind thinking. If you want to add other ones, go for it. But circle a couple of them. The instructions are on there. Then the next thing that we're doing this week is every day for the next week, you're going to pick a place. It doesn't have to be the same time. I would suggest it, but it doesn't have to be because I know we all have schedules. But you're going to pick a place that you observe. One place. You're going to look at it for 15 to 30 minutes every day and just jot down some notes. What you're observing. There doesn't need to be narrative. It's just like tree, brown, rough on the outside. You're just describing things objectively and taking notice of the world around us. Till next time, be well, do good work, stay disciplined.